Hello and welcome. Today we are looking at an exciting topic. How does the consumption of eggs affect your skin and youthful appearance? You may have already heard that diet has a significant impact on skin health. In this video, you will learn in a well-founded and scientifically supported way why eating eggs can potentially harm your skin and how a plant-based diet could help promote a radiant complexion. We will address the following points. On one hand, inflammation caused by eggs, keyword arachidonic acid, cholesterol and blood circulation in the skin, hormonal residues and pollutants in eggs, as well as the benefits of a plant-based diet for youthful skin. At the end, we will take a brief look at animal ethical reasons for avoiding or replacing eggs, without any moralizing, but for the sake of completeness. Let's get started. Eggs promote inflammation in the body. Did you know that eggs can promote inflammatory processes in the body? In particular, egg yolk contains arachidonic acid, an omega-6 fatty acid, that can be converted into inflammation-promoting messengers in the body. High levels of arachidonic acid in the diet are associated with an increased production of such pro-inflammatory compounds, which can promote chronic inflammation in the body. Why is this bad for the skin? Well, chronic inflammation is considered a major factor in premature skin aging. This phenomenon is also called inflamed aging, skin aging due to inflammation. Excessive inflammatory reactions can, for example, impair collagen production and promote the breakdown of skin structural proteins. The result? The skin loses elasticity and is more prone to wrinkles and sagging areas. Additionally, inflammation-promoting foods can exacerbate skin problems like acne, redness, or rosacea. Scientific note: a study reported that consuming several eggs per day led to increased inflammation markers in susceptible individuals. Although the results are not always consistent across all studies, the mere presence of arachidonic acid in eggs is a signal when to be cautious. In summary, inflammations are detrimental to radiant skin, and eggs do provide inflammation-promoting components. Let's move on to cholesterol and saturated fats and their effects on skin circulation. Another aspect is the high cholesterol content and the proportion of saturated fats in eggs, especially in the yolk. Why is this relevant for your skin? Well, too much cholesterol in the blood can cause deposits in the blood vessels over time, also known as arteriosclerosis. This affects not only the coronary arteries, but potentially also the fine capillaries in the skin. In fact, excess blood fats can clog tiny blood vessels that supply the skin with oxygen and nutrients. Less circulation means the skin cells receive less oxygen, vitamins, and minerals. The complexion can appear dull, and regeneration processes slow down. Additionally, wounds or pimples heal more slowly when microcirculation is disrupted. Besides cholesterol, saturated fatty acids play a role. A diet rich in saturated fats, as found in animal products, including eggs, can impair the flow properties of the blood. Studies show that a diet high in cholesterol and fat increases blood viscosity and reduces the deformability of red blood cells, factors associated with an increased risk of circulatory disorders. In the short term, it has been observed that high-fat meals can impair the function of blood vessels. This means that immediately after a very high-fat meal, the blood vessels dilate less effectively, which reduces tissue perfusion. Applied to the skin, chronically high-fat diets can therefore mean that your skin is less well perfused and consequently looks tired. The cholesterol and saturated fats in eggs can burden the blood vessels in the long term and thus worsen the skin's supply of blood and oxygen for a rosy and well-perfused complexion. However, unrestricted microcirculation is very important. Let's now move on to hormonal residues and pollutants in eggs. Besides fats, there is another often overlooked point, namely residues of hormones or medications, as well as environmental pollutants in eggs. Chickens are living beings that often receive antibiotics in conventional agriculture to prevent or treat diseases. If such antibiotic residues get into the eggs and thus into our bodies, they can trigger allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. Medical reviews report that the consumption of animal products with antibiotic residues can lead to a reaction, such as skin rashes, itching, or other skin reactions. Although there are strict limits and controls, extremely rare does not mean impossible. In addition, the excessive use of antibiotics contributes to the development of resistant bacteria, a global problem that should only be mentioned in passing here. Furthermore, eggs naturally contain hormones, as they originate from the hen's ovaries. Studies have shown that androgens can be detected in small amounts in commercially available eggs. For example, estrone, a female sex hormone, has been detected at about 1 microgram per kilogram of egg. These amounts are indeed tiny, and their effect on humans is controversial. But one must consider that we also ingest hormones from other animal products, such as milk and meat, which can accumulate. An excess of foreign hormones could theoretically affect our own hormonal balance. A hormonal imbalance often manifests in the skin. Think of hormonally induced acne during puberty or skin problems in adult women due to an excess of androgens. Although eggs are not the biggest hormone drivers, they do provide hormonally active substances that can burden the skin, albeit indirectly. Environmental pollutants also play a role, because chickens are at the top of the food chain. They eat feed that can, in turn, contain environmental substances. Certain persistent pollutants accumulate in eggs. A well-known example is dioxins and PCBs, or polychlorinated biphenyls. These fat-soluble toxins accumulate in the fat tissue of animals, and eggs or their yolks contain fat, which is why such substances can be present there in trace amounts. Studies in Europe have shown, for instance, that higher dioxin levels were found in some egg samples, especially when the chickens pecked on contaminated soil. And why is this relevant? Well, dioxins are among the most toxic known environmental chemicals. In the short term, a high dioxin exposure can cause severe skin changes, known as chlorachin, and darker skin pigmentation. In the long term, dioxins disrupt the immune system, hormonal balance, and can even be carcinogenic. Of course, the amounts of dioxins in eggs are extremely low and are also strictly monitored. Nevertheless, it is another potential stress factor for the body and the skin. The same applies to heavy metals or pesticide residues, which can also enter eggs in minimal traces through feed or the environment. All of this burdens our organism. In summary, it can be said, eggs can carry tiny amounts of undesirable substances, from antibiotics to hormones, to environmental toxins. And these could, in the long run, affect skin health, whether through allergies, hormonal infections, or toxic effects. It is not an immediate effect, like with inflammations, for example, but many who strive for clear skin prefer to rely on purer foods without all this burden. And with that, we come to plant-based nutrition for more youthful and radiant skin. Now, the good news, there are indeed alternatives that are really beneficial for your skin. A plant-based diet with plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and so on can help your skin stay youthful and radiant on multiple levels. Let's take a look at the benefits. We have fewer inflammations. Plant-based foods naturally contain little arachidonic acid and usually less saturated fats. Instead, it provides many anti-inflammatory nutrients, such as antioxidants, vitamins C, E, polyphenols, and omega-3 fatty acids from flax seeds, walnuts, or chia seeds. These nutrients combat free radicals and reduce inflammation markers in the body. A meta-analysis of 21 studies found that vegans had significantly lower CRP levels, C-reactive protein, which is an inflammation marker, compared to people who consume a mixed diet with meat. Less systemic inflammation provides a better foundation for healthy skin without underlying inflammation. We also have better circulation with plant-based foods, as they contain 0 milligrams of cholesterol. Plant-based cholesterol even has a cholesterol-lowering effect. Instead, you find more unsaturated fatty acids, which are considered heart-healthy. Studies suggest that people who predominantly eat plant-based tend to have lower cholesterol levels and healthier blood vessels. This naturally benefits the skin as well. Microcirculation remains intact. The skin is optimally supplied with blood and nutrients. Thus, a plant-based diet indirectly ensures a rosy complexion and good wound healing. Vitamin and nutrient power. Fruits and vegetables are packed with vitamins and minerals. They are essential for the skin. For example, vegetables like kale, broccoli, bell peppers, or oranges provide plenty of vitamin C, which supports collagen formation and keeps the skin firmer. Nuts and seeds provide vitamin E as well as zinc and selenium. These have antioxidant effects and protect the skin from aging processes. Carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, and the like contribute beta-carotene and other carotenoids, which protect our skin cells from UV damage and can even give a slightly golden glow. Carotenoids accumulate in the skin. An interesting study found that just 6 weeks of increased fruit and vegetable intake led to a visible improvement in skin color. The skin appeared overall healthier and slightly sun-kissed, which was perceived as more attractive by the participants. This effect is due to the natural plant pigments that give the skin a fresh tone. In other words, you are what you eat. If you eat a lot of colorful plants, it is reflected in a beautiful complexion, in a beautiful skin tone. Less wrinkle formation. There is also evidence that a plant-based diet can counteract skin aging. In a large Dutch study with over 2,700 older adults, it was found that women who predominantly had a fruit and vegetable-rich diet showed significantly fewer facial wrinkles than those who consumed a lot of red meat and sugar-rich snacks. A high consumption of red meat and a snack-heavy diet was associated with more pronounced wrinkle formation, while the fruit and vegetable eaters had comparatively smoother, more elastic skin. This suggests that the bioactive compounds in plant-based foods, such as antioxidants, phytochemicals, and water-rich foods, protect the skin from oxidative stress and preserve the collagen structure. Indeed, many factors influence skin aging. Of course, we also have genetics. We have sun exposure, our lifestyle, but diet is also a crucial component. And when it comes to skin rejuvenation, the colorful plant bowl clearly has the edge over the breakfast egg. To summarize once more, a wholesome plant-based diet provides the skin with all the essential building blocks for, let's say, repair and glow, without the problematic accompanying substances found in eggs. Many who switch to such a diet report clearer skin, fewer blemishes, and a fresher complexion after just a few weeks. This also aligns with scientific findings. So your skin will thank you if you snack more on the things provided by Mother Nature. Gentle reminder, once again, now the animal ethical reasons for avoiding eggs. Yes, in conclusion, I would like to briefly touch on the animal ethical aspects, as promised at the beginning. Don't worry, there won't be a long moral appeal now, but it's good to know that avoiding or replacing eggs not only benefits your skin but also helps the animals. Because many people are not aware of what goes on behind egg production. On one hand, we have the problem with male chicks, which do not lay eggs, just like male calves in the dairy industry do not produce milk, and are also unsuitable for fattening. Statistically speaking, for every female chicken, there is also a male chicken, and they are simply surplus. This leads to them being sent abroad, where they are slaughtered after a short time, or killed directly. This is no longer allowed in Germany, but it is still permitted abroad, so these chickens are sometimes transported overseas. Additionally, most chickens in Germany live in floor housing. This type of housing is also far from pleasant. And overall, consuming eggs does not do any favors for animal welfare. The nice thing is that I have just introduced you to some alternatives. By doing so, you are not only doing something good for yourself, but also for the animal. And this also affects both the exterior and the interior. You simply have a more positive aura, because this aspect is then holistic. And now, from the perspective of skin health, we really have critical downsides: the inflammation-promoting arachidonic acid, the high cholesterol and saturated fats, possible hormonal residues, and pollutants. All of this can contribute to our skin aging faster or developing problems. On the other hand, we have a plant-based diet, which offers many advantages. It is rich in protective nutrients, i.e., keeps inflammation low, and promotes youthful, more radiant skin. As a bonus, it also spares the animals. And of course, no one has to go vegan overnight. But I hope this video might motivate you to be more conscious about eggs and to reach for plant-based alternatives more often and to get closer to this form of nutrition. Your skin will thank you for it. I say thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.